I've gotten a lot in questions lately about, Dave, what do you eat on a regular basis? You look like you've gotten bigger. I want to know what you've been eating. Well, I'm going to tell you what I've been eating. Stay tuned. You're going to be shocked.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
RX Television, RxMuscle.com. This is Ask Dave, your weekly 30-minute question and answer show with Dave Palumbo. Bodybuilding, non-bodybuilding, whatever's on your mind, it is all on the table. This is your forum to ask Dave whatever you have on your mind. Quick reminder, this weekend is the New York Pro. Dave, myself, Chris Aceto, we're going to be there. We're going to be covering the show wall to wall. It's a 2-day show this year, so it's going to be a vast majority of the divisions are going to take place on Friday, the pro divisions. Then Saturday is going to be men's open, bikini, and then they have, for the first time, an NPC portion at the show. But we're going to be covering all the divisions, and of course, we're going to have wrap-ups for Classic Physique 212, Men's Physique, as well as, of course, the Men's Open class. If you're following us on Instagram, official_RX Muscle, we have some interviews going up now from Bev's Gym, and of course, we're going to have content from the weekend in Teaneck, New Jersey. Also, quick note, speciesnutrition.com, we have 2 sales going on this weekend. One, a dedicated New York Pro sale, which is going to be Saturday, so it's going to begin Friday midnight, 11:59 p.m. Eastern, going into Saturday midnight. And then Sunday, of course, it is Mother's Day, and we're going to have a full dedicated Mother's Day sale at speciesnutrition.com. Let's go to the questions. The first 2 questions on the show from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. If each protein source has a different amount of macros, let's say 100 grams of chicken has 30 grams of protein, but 100 grams tilapia is 21 grams protein, how do you generalize by ounce in your plans?
You know, I think, first of all, I would, without looking it up, I would tend to say fish usually has way more protein per gram than chicken does. So I don't know if I'm buying what he just, used as an example, but usually lean fishes like white fishes, like tilapia, cod, have more grams of protein per ounce, I guess, or gram than, like chicken would or chicken breast would, because it's leaner. So in other words, if something weighs, let's say 100 grams, right? The lean fish is going to have almost 0 fat in it, whereas the chicken breast is going to be low in fat, but it's going to have some fat. So your variations is not going to be that much in protein, but you're still going to compensate. So if you have less protein, you have a little bit more fat. Calorically, it's pretty much the same. You don't really have to get too crazy about the exact number of macros. I mean, if you're talking about, 28 grams of protein versus 32, essentially they're the same. Like I said, if you're the one that's going to be lower is going to have a little bit more fat in it, so that'll compensate calorically anyway. So you're not going to notice a difference. It's too difficult to have people say, all right, well, if you're eating whitefish, we're going to eat this much, and if we're doing chicken, we're going to do this. It's just easier just to keep it consistent. Now, if someone's having a trouble losing weight, like sometimes I work with women, and I have to really lower their food a lot to get them in lean. That's a different story, But for most people, estimating, around, if I'm dealing with a 280-pound guy, 8 ounces of protein is usually pretty good, whether it's fish, chicken, or red meat. The reason I vary and I don't use the same protein source at all the meals is because I like that variation. Some have more fats, some have less fats. So it kind of makes up for it. So while you might be getting more calories in the red meat because there's more fat, because remember, fat has double the calories per gram, you're getting a little less protein. In the chicken or the whitefish meal, you're going to get more protein but less fat, so you're not going to have as many calories. So once again, they balance each other off, and that's why I'll vary the protein sources throughout the day, as opposed to, I know some people eat chicken every single meal. I think sometimes it's boring, but I like to vary, once again, the fat sources and the protein sources.
Second question, again, these first two from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. We do get questions time to time about you now, and in terms of your lifestyle, in terms of your protein intake, your nutritional intake. It looks like you've been gaining muscle. What is your current eating protocol?
It's funny. I said my body is so variable according to like what I'm eating. It really, I get into, it's like I get neurotic. So sometimes, I get into these routines where I'm eating the same thing every day. Not the same meal every day, but like I'll do eggs in the morning, with like cream of rice or some Ezekiel bread. I'll do, something like, sometimes I'll do salmon in a packet. I'll make it like a tuna salad. I'll put it on some, I'll mix some rice into it, and then maybe for dinner I'll have sushi. So it's like, it's really lean. So when I'm eating like fish and just eggs like that, and I'll have like obviously some protein shakes in there in between, I lose weight, because it's almost like it's too clean. And then if I start eating a little bit heavier foods, I start gaining muscle, and we're putting on weight. I fill out my glycogen stores and I look a lot bigger. So really my weight doesn't vary much more than a couple of pounds, but I look different. Lately, my kids, rather than liking to going, a lot of times I'll order in food on school nights, or we'll go out to a lot of dinners, and I order very clean when I go out because that's what I like. But lately I told them that my grandmother used to make her own sauce and meatballs and stuff like that, and they didn't believe me. So I said, I can make it for you, and I'll prove it to you. So I got the big pot out. I put all the sauce in there, and I made my own meatballs, and I cooked it all day in there, like my grandmother used to do. And I made them pasta, and they loved it. They were like licking the plates clean. So then now they want this every day. So I've been making pasta every day. So I eat whatever I cook for them. So we've been doing like chicken, cutlets and pasta every night. And, when you start eating the heavier foods, in my body, I don't get fat. I get fuller, and my glycogen stores fill out. I'm stronger in the gym. And I'm like, I don't know why I eat so clean like this, because obviously getting more red meat in your diet, on occasion, you have to eat it every single day. Eating, high, lower glycemic foods, but that are a little more calorie dense, like pastas and stuff like that, definitely helps you gain weight better. And I notice it myself too. I'm a little more bloated, a little bit, but it does vary. And I think that it's important. Sometimes we lose track of the fact that you do want to vary your diet a little bit. And if you do feel like you're a little too flat and you're not filling out enough, it could be that you're eating too clean. Fishes, eggs, egg whites, especially protein powders, they really have no pro-inflammatory fats in them. Whereas the chicken breasts and red meat and whole eggs, of course, have a lot more of the arachidonic acid in it. It's going to incite that inflammation. It's also the denser carbs, like pasta versus white rice, or pasta versus white potatoes. It's more sustaining. You're gonna load glycogen stores a lot better with that on a routine basis. So if you are too flat, go have a burger and fries. That's why I send my clients to do that. Or, instead of your cheat meal being sushi every week, maybe it's not enough. Maybe that's not calorie dense enough, and it's not the right foods for you, especially if you're eating very clean the rest of the week. And I think that that's important to vary it. And you have to kind of go by the mirror. If you start feeling like you're a little too sucked out in the face, maybe you're, really dry, maybe you feel a little dehydrated, your skin gets a little dry, you might need to get some carbs in you that are going to be a little more dense, and you want to get some more red meat in you. So once again, it's all about balance. And sometimes we get unbalanced because as bodybuilders, we're so OCD about everything we do. Try to break yourself out of those habits.
Before we go to the rest of our questions, our friends at Titan Medical Center have a Build Your Stack special. So therapy of the week. So buy one, get one half off. And of course, with all the vitamin immunotherapies, they don't do this very often. It is a good deal. Hercules Potion, Titan Complete, L-carnitine, glutathione, Titan Ultra, which has NAD, and Titan Serenity. So Dave, buy one and get one half off.
Listen, if you do it for nothing else, because I love glutathione. I take it every day, aside from when maybe I travel, but take it every day. And I think it's great for the immune system, detoxification, heavy metal detox. There's nothing that it doesn't do good in your body, glutathione. And so it could be a little expensive, if you're taking it all the time. So, but if you like it and if you use it, this is a great opportunity to get. I would stock up because you're going to buy one, get one half price. I mean, that's a deal they never do at TitanMedicalCenter.com, and all their other therapies too. So take a look at the website, see what all the combinations are, see what you might want to incorporate into your program, and act this week. When you contact TitanMedicalCenter.com, tell them Dave Palumbo and RX Muscle sent you. They're going to give you this great discount. It's only for 1 week. I'm telling you, I don't think I've ever seen them offer this one. So this is a special sale for Mother's Day. Charisse, happy Mother's Day over there at Titan. You guys are great. We love you. And this is a great opportunity, so don't miss out on that. Also, I want to just mention that the Dave Palumbo Experience app, those 2 questions were from that app. That's an app you can download for your Android phone or your iTunes or your Apple iPhone. And it's basically you get me as your coach in your back pocket. I answer all your questions in an open forum. You see everyone's questions and answers. All my writings are there. All my videos I've ever done. All my programs. All my cycles. All my Dave Palumbo ketogenic diet, cyclical ketogenic diet. If you want to know everything about Dave Palumbo and all the stuff I've done over the last 30 years, you go on that app. And every single week we update it with new stuff. I do a Q&A video exclusively for the app members. So you're going to see an extra Ask Dave on that app every single week. You're also going to see workouts we put up there every single week. And once again, I answer everyone's questions in an open forum. It's a great learning experience. If you're serious about being a coach, or you're even just serious about, understanding nutrition and supplements and PEDs, this is something you're going to want to get. It's a super great price. If you can't afford coaching, this is essentially a coach in your back pocket for only $29 a month. Thank you for the support. And that's why I keep doing it.
Let's go to the rest of our questions before we go to our YouTube community post.
Oh, wait, one more thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. A lot of people have been asking me that they've been out for quite a while because they reformulated them. Roy test kits. I sell these at DavePalumbo.com. It's to test your anabolic steroids to see if they're legit. Well, Roy Test just came out again with the semi-quantitative tests. Those are the tests that not only will tell you, well, there's one set of tests that will tell you what your compound is that you have, if it's legit, and if it's not, what it might be. But these semi-quantitative tests will tell you how much of the gear is in this, so how many milligrams are in this. So if you think your stuff is underdosed, these tests will allow you to find out what the dosage is of what you are taking, which is a tremendous, tremendous tool. So those are now, I think, available at DavePalumbo.com. If not today, probably by tomorrow they'll be up. And these are great because, like I said, a lot of people know they have real gear, but they don't even know if it works or not. So they're like, maybe I should take double. At least if maybe your gear is half the strength, you can just double the dose. If it's double the strength, then you might want to cut it back a little bit. So these are great tests. They were out for almost over 2 years because the testing just wasn't coming back as accurate as we liked. Now we have super accurate ones. These semi-quantitative are available, not for all the drugs, but some of them, you'll see them up at DavePalumbo.com. Check it out. You can never be too careful about what you're putting in your body.
So before we go to our YouTube community questions, we did get one. Let me pull it up real quick. So Logan Paul, of course, of his many different roles, now prominently a WWE competitor. So there's a picture of him and somebody goes, I need to get Logan Paul's workout routine, bro, because holy crap. And he just, of course, cheekily says 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups a day, prime shake, 32 grams of protein. Now, of course, nobody's buying that. Dave, you look at that physique. Yeah. Is he on the juice?
I was getting excited. I thought Logan Paul had a question, but evidently not. Listen, he's on something. So, more than likely, because I know that the WWE wrestlers get tested. So he's not on a full-blown cycle. There's no way about that. My guess would be that he's probably taking hormone replacement, by prescription with a doctor, and then he's probably taking growth hormone on top of that because they really don't test for growth. It's almost impossible to test for GH. They do have a GH test, but it's not accurate. I guarantee the wrestlers are probably not getting tested for that. And so he's probably on GH and some HRT. And, he's got good genetics anyway. He trains hard. And you can tell he's really ripped over there. So he's probably not as big as you think. TV makes you look a lot bigger. And, he's marketing himself. He keeps changing his image. Initially he was just like a influencer and a cool guy. And now, then he became a wrestler. Now he wants to look jacked, like The Rock. I don't blame him. Next thing we'll see him in movies probably. So congratulations for him. But yeah, he's definitely on something, probably most likely, like I said, HRT, because those guys do get tested. So.
Injecting test subcutaneously, your thoughts?
I hate when people try to recreate the wheel type of thing. We used intramuscular injections, from when I could remember starting anabolics till just recently. Just within the last 3 or 4 years, they started suggesting doing subcutaneous injections. Sub-Q injections are only good if you're using very small amounts. So some guys who are on 100 milligrams of testosterone a week, and they decide they want to microdose it throughout the week, 7 days a week, they're doing very, very tiny amounts. Yeah, you can put it under the skin. It doesn't matter. If you start injecting 2 cc's and 3 cc's under the skin, you're going to have big welts of oil under there. It's not going to look good. And it's not going to feel good. I can promise you that. So I would stick with intramuscular injections. Interestingly, they've done studies where they wanted to determine I think they did it with growth hormone, what raised blood levels the quickest, intramuscular versus a subcutaneous. And they said, and intramuscular came back as having the highest blood levels of this stuff. I don't know if that means that some of the gear that people were injecting were getting trapped in the fat layer or not. Personally, I would just stick with intramuscular injections. You can use an insulin pen and put it in your shoulder because there's no fat there if you don't want to use a big pin. But I personally would not do subcutaneous injections. No.
Question about Somalyze. How does a GABA in Somalyze work if it's been shown not to cross the blood-brain barrier?
Well, I beg to differ with that. I can promise you, if I give you a 2-gram dose of GABA, it's gonna cross the blood-brain barrier because you're gonna feel relaxed and tired, and you're gonna completely know you're on it. And so I don't know where that data is coming from. I do know that the GABA has to cross the blood-brain barrier because you like I said, you wouldn't feel it otherwise. It definitely has maybe it doesn't efficiently cross the blood-brain barrier. That's a possibility. Some is getting across, but a lot of times, people the reason they don't fall asleep is because they're restless. The muscles are restless. So when you take something that's an inhibitory neurotransmitter, it makes the whole body relax. And sometimes just doing that alone will allow you to fall asleep because most people at night should be tired, right? They have the whole day, they worked out, they went to work, yet they can't fall asleep at night. And it's usually because they're just, they're too anxious. So the GABA relaxes you. The melatonin in the Somalyze will keep you asleep and give you a better quality of deep sleep. And that's that 1-2 bang in Somalyze that works so well together. And it's something I've used for years generically, just buying separate ingredients. And then I decided, well, I might as well make a one formula that has both of them in it. And Somalyze has been one of our best sellers for the last, over 10 years now.
Question about where did I put it? Sorry about that. On average, how many working sets do you recommend per muscle group?
I change it up from body part to body part. So for back, I probably do the most, probably 12 sets for back. Legs probably comparable to that, because I do a lot of exercises, different exercises. Whereas chest, I'm only doing 3 exercises usually. So I'm probably doing 9-10 sets. Arms, for biceps, I might do 6 to 7 sets. Triceps, 8 sets. Shoulders, if you include traps, you can get yourself up to 12 sets with that too, because, there's a lot of different, doing front delts, rear delts, side delts, plus presses and traps. So that can work out to 12 sets. So, and then legs, of course, depending on how heavy you're going with presses or squats, you can't just start out, doing heavy weight. You got to build up to it. So you might get 12 to 15 sets with legs. But once again, I vary it really depending on the person and the body. Some people can do more sets and not overtrain, but I find that once you start going over those numbers I gave you and you're doing more and more sets, you tend not to give 100% to each set. And you know what, you kind of cheat yourself a little because you're kind of just going through the motions. So I want people to be able to give 100% to every last set they do, which is going to be the heaviest weight they use with good form and full range of motion.
Question about TRT. Thoughts on not getting off TRT long term and adding certain compounds at certain points to bump it up to more of a quote cycle?
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, if you're going to do a cycle, though, if you, let's say you're on HRT for 5 months and you say, you know, I'm going to do a cycle for the summer for 12 weeks, and you add in DECA or EQ or Masteron, and you do a cycle. At the end of the summer, I would recommend then going completely off and do the PCT. I recommend HCG, Clenbuterol, or Nolvadex, you know, and then take 4 weeks off of everything, you know. And I think that that's important if you're going to do a cycle. And then if you want to start up your HRT again, that's fine until you decide you want to do another cycle. If you're not going to do a cycle and you're just going to stay on HRT, then you can just stay on that indefinitely. That doesn't matter. But if you're going to add a cycle, and my suggestion is to come down off of it afterwards, because that's going to, once again, restore androgen receptor sensitivity. Plus, it's going to give your body a chance to detox itself. And 8 weeks is nothing. The first 3 weeks, you still have the stuff in your system from the cycle. And then you're going to also do your PCT during that time. And then so for 4 weeks or 5 weeks, you're a little low. It's not going to be the end of the world. If you continue to eat right and train right, you're not going to lose anything. And you're going to restore, like I said, androgen receptor sensitivity and detoxify your body, which is what you want to do. Especially if you're on HRT, more than likely you're older. And there's no reason to put all that toxicity into your body and then not give your body a little break after that. And so that's just how I feel. If you're going to stay on physiological dosages, you know, which of HRT, then you don't have to ever, you know, come off that. You can stay on that indefinitely. That's what I'm doing now. There's no reason for me to come off, you know. So, but I'm not doing cycles either, so that's why I'm staying on.
Take one more question. Thoughts on Albuterol versus Clenbuterol in terms of safety and efficacy?
Well, if you're talking about, you know, taking it as an asthma medication, they're kind of comparable. I think that Clenbuterol might be a little better as an asthma medication. I'm assuming we're talking about them as fat burners. As far as fat burners go, Albuterol doesn't burn fat. Clenbuterol does. So Albuterol doesn't hit the same receptors, obviously, that Clenbuterol does. Clenbuterol is what we call a second generation, might even be a third generation fat burner, a beta agonist, excuse me. And whereas Albuterol is a first generation, and Albuterol has some heart effects. It has some beta-1 activity levels, which means it can stimulate the heart if you take too much of it. Clenbuterol has no beta-1 activation or beta-1 receptor activation. The only reason Clenbuterol would make your heart beat faster would be because if you took too much in one dose and you drop your blood pressure too much, your heart might kick up a little bit and try to raise blood pressure. But there's no direct effect on the heart. So as far as fat burners go, Clenbuterol obliterates, you know, Albuterol. And I've said this a million times before. In my estimation, there's no fat burner in the whole performance enhancing, inventory that's any better than Clenbuterol. I think Clenbuterol is the best one out there as far as from a pure fat burner and something that works pretty fast. I think Clenbuterol is second to none. So, and it's safe if you use it right. So that would be my suggestion. Do not consider Albuterol. It's not the same. I know everyone has a sister who's asthmatic and can get her Clenbuterol, and they're like, well, can I use her Clenbuterol? I mean, can I use her Albuterol? And you can use it, but you're not going to burn any fat on it. That's the truth.
That's going to do for this episode of Ask Dave. Oh, wait, wrong window. Let's try this again. That's going to do for this episode of Ask Dave. Reminder, this weekend, New York Pro. We're going to be there both days. It's a 2-day show this year, Friday and Saturday. The bulk of the pro divisions are going to be on Friday. Men's Open and Bikini will be on Saturday, as well as the brand new installed NPC portion. Dave, myself, Chris Aceto, we're going to be covering this thing wall to wall. And then, of course, Species Nutrition. We have 2 sales going on this weekend. We're going to have a dedicated New York Pro sale as well as a Mother's Day sale. They're going to be 2 separate sales, 1-day sales each. So you want to keep your eye on both sales and see which one suits you the best. But it's a great opportunity to stock up. Obviously, the weather's warming up. Your opportunity to stock up. And of course, with our brand new website, which, by the way, is live now, speciesnutrition.com. We're going to do a little bit more in terms of promoting the new site.
I think we should tell people We have people have been asking me for 5 years to do this. We finally have subscribe and save. So
Yes.
if you guys use like Demineralize and Omegalyze and Fiberlyze and Arthrolyze every single month, you can just subscribe and save. You'll get a great discount, and they'll just send it to you every month. It took me a while to do it. We had to upgrade to the higher Shopify cart, but now we can do it. So no need to have to go on the website every single month and order your stuff. You can just do it automatically, which I love about that new website. That's probably the best feature we got.
So next week, what we'll do is we'll do a more full-scale video about some of the new features of the Species Nutrition website, but it's going to be a total game changer in terms of the customer experience, the user experience, your ability to find the product, and most importantly, subscribe and save. So if you're a regular user of Species Nutrition products, you're going to get a discount on it on a month-over-month basis, and it's just going to make the whole buying process a lot easier. So we're very excited about this. It's live, but obviously whenever a new website is live, there are some things we still need to work out. But over the course of the next few days, of course, obviously the New York Pro this weekend, once we get back and are fully dedicated, clean a couple of things up, we're going to do a video, walk you through the whole site and how you'll be able to benefit from it as a Species Nutrition customer. For Dave Palumbo, I'm Sadiq Faruqi. We'll see you next time.